Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we are going to tackle something that I'm sure everyone listening has had to go through at some point, and that is the job interview process.
Yeah.
We found a pretty cool YouTube video titled Five Secret Tricks to Sell Yourself in Any Job Interview by Interview Skills Guru.
Okay.
And it really got me thinking about all of the things that go into making a good impression that go beyond just reciting your resume.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, an interview is really kind of a psychological game in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah, and this video really dives into that, talking about how much weight appearance and body language actually have. Like,
Mhm.
it even claims that those things might matter more than, perfectly worded answers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Well, it's interesting because, that does actually line up with what we know from research on nonverbal communication.
Mm-hmm.
Interviewers, they often form opinions within seconds of meeting you.
Hmm.
And a lot of that is based on things like body language, how you're dressed, even like your handshake.
Right, it's all about that first impression.
Exactly. And it all feeds into that first impression, even if it's happening subconsciously.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you present yourself overall.
Okay.
This video really emphasizes that need for a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Talking about eye contact, confidence, posture. It's like a whole crash course in interview etiquette.
It is.
But what I found really fascinating was how these seemingly small things actually tie back into deeper psychological principles.
Well, think about it. It's all about setting the right signals.
Right.
Like, take eye contact, for example.
Mhm.
It seems like such a basic thing, but it conveys so much, right? Confidence, engagement, respect.
Right.
When someone avoids eye contact, we tend to assume that maybe they're not listening or they're hiding something.
Right. They're not really present in the conversation.
Exactly. And in an interview, maintaining good eye contact shows that you are actively listening
Uh-huh.
and that you're engaged with what the interviewer is saying. So it's about finding that balance, not staring them down, but also not appearing shifty or disinterested by looking away constantly.
Yeah. Makes sense. Now, the video also talks a lot about confidence, but
Mm.
I think a lot of people struggle with that line between confidence and arrogance.
Yeah, for sure.
Where's the sweet spot?
Well, that is a crucial distinction, right?
Yeah.
Confidence is about knowing your worth and being able to articulate your skills clearly.
Okay.
But arrogance comes across as, believing that you are superior to others.
Right. So how do you project that genuine self-assurance without going overboard?
Right.
Is it all about practice?
Well, practice is definitely key, and the video actually suggests, doing mock interviews with friends or family,
Okay.
which I think is a fantastic idea
Mm-hmm.
because it helps you refine your answers, identify any nervous habits, and just get comfortable talking about yourself and your experiences.
Right. It's like a dress rehearsal
Exactly.
for the main event. But beyond practicing, are there other things you can do in the moment to boost your confidence during an interview?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Body language plays a huge role here.
Well-
The video talks about the importance of good posture, smiling, and appearing relaxed.
Yeah.
These might seem like superficial things, but they can actually have a big impact on how you feel and how you come across.
So you're saying if you're feeling nervous, consciously adjusting your posture or making yourself smile can actually help you feel more confident.
Exactly. It's about sending those positive signals to yourself as well as to the interviewer.
Wow.
Think about it like sitting up straight conveys alertness,
Right.
and a genuine smile not only makes you appear more approachable, but it releases endorphins,
Uh-huh.
which can actually calm your nerves.
It's all about that mind-body connection.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how all of these seemingly small details can actually add up to make a big difference in how you're perceived.
Right. It's about creating a holistic impression. And that brings us to another point that the video emphasizes,
Okay.
and that's appearance.
Right.
Dressing professionally is always key, but it can be tricky these days,
Mhm.
with workplace attire varying so much.
Right, you don't want to show up in a suit if everyone else is in jeans and a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you strike that balance? Well, research is key.
Okay.
For the interview, try to get a sense of the company culture and dress accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're unsure, it's always better to err on the side of formality.
Right.
A well-tailored suit or a professional dress shows that you are taking the opportunity seriously.
It's like dressing for the job you want, not the job you have.
Exactly.
But looking the part is only half the battle.
Right.
You also need to be able to answer those tough interview questions effectively.
Absolutely. And the video cautions against rushing your answers and advocates for a structured and logical approach.
Right.
And this is where techniques like the STAR method can come into play.
Yeah, that's one I'd love to delve into further. It's all about crafting compelling narratives, right?
Exactly. The STAR method helps you structure your responses in a way that highlights your skills and experiences in a clear and concise manner.
Okay.
Instead of just listing facts, you're telling a story.
Uh-huh.
And that's what engages the interviewer and showcases your abilities.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. Let's break down this STAR method and see how it works in practice. But before we do that, I want to touch on another crucial element of the interview process, and that's asking insightful questions at the end.
Yes.
The video really stresses the importance of this.
It is important.
But it also warns against inquiring about salary.
Ah, yes, the classic interview faux pas.
Right.
Asking about salary too early can give the impression that you're more interested in the paycheck than the work itself.
Okay. So what are some good alternatives then? What kind of questions should you be asking instead?
Well, you want to focus on questions that demonstrate a genuine interest in the role and in the company. For example, you could ask about the day-to-day responsibilities, the team dynamics, the company culture, or even the interviewer's own experience with the company.
So it's about showing that you've done your research.
Yes.
That you're thinking beyond just getting the job.
Right.
Like you're actually considering if it's a right fit for you long term.
Exactly. And those insightful questions can often make just as big an impression as your answers.
I can see that. This is all so helpful.
Good.
It's like you said earlier, interviews are about so much more than just reciting your resume.
They are.
It's about connecting with the interviewer, showcasing your personality, and demonstrating that you'd be a valuable asset to their team.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay, so let's dive into the specifics of that. The video talks about two main types of interview questions.
Okay.
Traditional and behavioral.
What's the difference?
Okay, so traditional questions are those straightforward inquiries, like, tell me about yourself.
Right.
Why are you interested in this role? Or what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Behavioral questions, on the other hand, ask you to describe specific situations or experiences that demonstrate your skills and abilities.
So behavioral questions require you to, tell a story,
Yes.
while traditional questions are more about providing a general overview.
Exactly. And each type of question requires a slightly different approach.
So we were talking about these two types of questions, traditional and behavioral.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the STAR method would be especially helpful for those behavioral questions.
Yes.
Where you're asked to, share specific examples.
Absolutely. You're right. When you're asked to describe a time you dealt with conflict or faced a challenging situation, the STAR method gives you a framework for telling a compelling and structured story.
Okay, so remind me again, what does STAR stand for?
Okay, so it stands for situation, task, action, and result.
Okay.
It's basically like building this mini narrative
Right.
that showcases your skills and action.
Okay.
So you start by setting the scene right, describing the situation and providing context. Then you explain the task that you were responsible for.
Huh.
So what were you actually trying to achieve?
Okay.
Next comes the action. So what specific steps did you take to address the situation or to complete the task?
Okay.
And finally, you wrap it up with a result. So what was the outcome?
Right.
And what did you learn from the experience?
It's interesting how that result part goes beyond just stating what happened. It's like also highlighting what you learned,
Right.
which shows that you're self-aware and that you have a desire to grow.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you can not only handle these challenging situations, but also extract those valuable lessons from them.
Right.
And interviewers love to see that kind of reflection
Right.
and that growth mindset.
Yeah. So let's say you're asked, tell me about a time you failed to meet a deadline. How would you use the STAR method to craft a response?
Okay.
That doesn't just admit to a mistake,
Right.
but actually showcases your problem-solving skills.
That's a great example. So you could start by describing the situation. Maybe you were working on a really complex project
Okay.
with multiple moving parts. Then you'd outline the task. What was your specific role in that project?
Right.
And what was the deadline you were aiming for?
Okay.
Next, you detail the action that you took.
Uh-huh.
Did you try to renegotiate the deadline, delegate tasks, or work extra hours to catch up? And finally, you describe the result. So did you ultimately meet the revised deadline?
Right.
Or what did you learn from that experience
Okay.
that you could apply to future projects?
I see how that turns what could be a negative situation
Yes.
into an opportunity to highlight your, ability to adapt and problem solve and learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
It's all about framing your experiences in a way that emphasizes your strengths.
It is. And the STAR method is such a versatile tool.
Yeah.
It can be used to answer a wide range of these behavioral questions, from those that focus on leadership skills to those highlighting teamwork or communication abilities.
That makes a lot of sense. But even with a great framework like STAR, there's still that element of pressure in an interview.
Oh, for sure.
This video talks about preparation being key to combating those nerves.
Preparation is essential. The more prepared you are,
Right.
the more confident you'll feel going into the interview. And that preparation goes beyond just researching the company and the role.
Right.
Although those are important first steps.
Yes.
It's also about practicing your answers out loud, thinking about potential questions,
Yeah.
and even doing those mock interviews that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, mock interviews can be so helpful.
They can.
It's like having a test run before the real deal.
Exactly. It helps you get comfortable talking about yourself
Right.
and your experiences, and it allows you to receive feedback and identify areas for improvement.
Right.
Plus, it's a great way to work out those pre-interview jitters.
So let's talk about the specifics of preparation. When the video talks about researching the company, what does that actually entail?
Right.
Is it just like skimming their website?
Well, it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about understanding their mission, their values, and their culture.
Okay.
Look at their recent news and press releases to see what they're focusing on.
Okay.
Explore their products or services and think about their target audience.
Right.
Try to get a sense of their overall brand personality.
So it's not just about knowing what they do, but understanding who they are as a company.
Exactly.
It shows that you've taken the time to learn about their values.
Yes.
And how you might fit into their culture.
Exactly. It demonstrates that you're genuinely interested in the company, not just any open position.
Right. What about researching the role itself?
Okay.
What if the job description is kind of vague?
Well, even a vague description can offer clues. Pay attention to keywords and phrases that highlight the skills or qualities they're looking for. Think about how your own experiences align with those keywords.
Right.
And be prepared to articulate those connections during the interview.
Okay.
You can also look at similar job postings at other companies to get a sense of industry standards and expectations for that type of role.
It's like being a detective piecing together clues to understand what they're really looking for in a candidate.
Exactly. And the more information you have, the better equipped you'll be to tailor your answers and showcase your relevant skills and experience.
Okay, so now let's dive into some of those common interview questions that this video highlights.
Okay.
One that often trips people up is, tell me about yourself.
Yes.
It seems so simple.
It does.
But it can be surprisingly tricky.
It's a deceptively simple question.
Yeah.
But it's a prime opportunity to make a strong first impression.
All right.
The key is to think of it as your elevator pitch. You have a very limited amount of time to capture the interviewer's attention and convince them that you're the right person for the job.
So it's not about reciting your entire resume. It's about crafting this like concise and compelling narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Highlight your key accomplishments, your transferable skills, and your passion for the work.
Okay.
And you want to connect your experiences to this specific role and company, demonstrating how your skills and aspirations align with their needs.
That makes sense. It's about presenting this focused snapshot of who you are and what you bring to the table.
It is. Okay, what about another common question?
Okay.
Why are you interested in this role? This question is your chance to show that you've done your homework.
Okay.
And that you're genuinely interested in this specific opportunity.
Right.
Be specific. Don't just say you're interested in the industry.
Right.
Explain what draws you to this particular company and this particular role.
So it's about showing that you're not just sending out generic applications, but that you've actually put thought into how your skills and goals align with what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about demonstrating that you're not just looking for any job.
Right.
You're looking for the right job.
Okay, here's one that always makes me nervous.
Okay.
What are your strengths? How do you answer that without sounding arrogant?
The key is to focus on strengths that are relevant to the role.
Okay.
And to back them up with specific examples. Don't just say you're a hard worker or a team player.
Yeah.
Show it.
Okay.
Describe specific situations where you demonstrated those strengths and the positive outcomes that you achieved.
So instead of just stating a quality, you're providing evidence to support it.
Exactly.
It's like show, don't tell.
It adds weight to your claims.
Right.
And it helps the interviewer visualize you in the role successfully applying those strengths.
Okay, now for the flip side of that,
Okay.
what are your weaknesses?
Yes. Do you really have to admit to flaws?
Well, it's a question that makes a lot of people uncomfortable,
Right.
but it's an opportunity to showcase self-awareness
Okay.
and a willingness to learn and grow.
Uh-huh.
Choose a weakness that's not a deal breaker for the role
Right.
and frame it in a positive light.
So it's not about pretending to be perfect,
Right.
but about showing that you're aware of areas where you could improve
Exactly.
and that you're actively working on them.
Exactly. For example, you could say, I sometimes struggle with public speaking, but I've recently joined Toastmasters to improve my communication skills.
Right. So you're turning a potential negative into a positive
Exactly.
by highlighting your, commitment to personal and professional development.
It is. Okay, here's another classic. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, yes.
Do they really expect us to have a crystal ball?
Right.
Well, it's not about predicting the future with certainty.
Okay.
It's about understanding your career aspirations and how they align with the company's goals. Be realistic,
Yeah.
but also ambitious.
Okay.
Show that you're driven and motivated to learn and grow,
Right.
and that you're looking for a company where you can build a long-term career.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yes,
between ambition and realism,
exactly.
showing that you have a vision for your future,
Yes,
but you're also grounded in the present.
exactly. And it's an opportunity to connect your aspirations
Uh-huh.
to the company's growth trajectory,
Right.
demonstrating that you see yourself as a long-term contributor to their success.
Okay, so we've talked about answering those traditional questions, but the video also emphasizes the importance of asking questions at the end of the interview.
It does. That's right.
Okay.
Asking insightful questions is just as important as giving strong answers.
Right.
It's your chance to gather information,
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate your curiosity,
Sure.
and leave a lasting impression.
The video specifically warns against asking about salary, though.
Yes.
Why is that such a no-no?
Well, asking about salary too early can make it seem like your primary motivation is the paycheck
Right.
rather than the opportunity itself.
Okay.
It's important to focus on demonstrating your enthusiasm for the work and the company first.
Okay, so then what are some good alternatives? Like, what kind of questions should we be asking instead?
Well, you want to think about questions that show you've been listening carefully
Okay.
and that you're genuinely interested in the role and the company.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask about the day-to-day responsibilities,
Okay.
the team dynamics, opportunities for professional development,
Yeah.
or the company's long-term goals.
So it's about showing that you're thinking beyond just getting the job. You're
Right.
thinking about how you can contribute and grow within the company.
Precisely. And remember, the questions you ask should be genuine.
Right.
Don't just ask questions for the sake of asking.
Yeah.
Use this opportunity to gather information that will help you decide if this is the right role and the right company for you.
Okay, so we've talked about what TO ask.
Yes.
What other things we should avoid asking?
Absolutely. Avoid questions that could easily be answered with a quick Google search.
Okay.
It shows a lack of initiative.
Right.
Also, avoid questions that are overly personal or inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you want to maintain a professional and respectful tone throughout the interview.
So it's about striking that balance
Yes.
between curiosity and professionalism.
Exactly.
You want to show that you're engaged and interested, but also that you understand the boundaries of a professional setting.
Exactly. And remember, the goal of asking questions isn't just to impress the interviewer. It's to gather information
Right.
that will help you make an informed decision about whether this is the right opportunity for you.
This has been so insightful.
Good. I'm glad.
We've covered so much ground, from the power of the STAR method to the art of asking the right questions.
We have.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something that's been weaving through our conversation,
Okay.
and that's this idea of authenticity. Authenticity is absolutely crucial in a successful interview. It's not about trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about showcasing your unique skills, experiences, and personality in a way that's genuine
Yeah.
and true to yourself.
So how do we find that balance between being professional and being ourselves,
Right.
especially when we're feeling nervous and under pressure?
Well, it starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
Take some time to reflect on your values, your passions, your strengths, and your weaknesses.
Right.
What makes you unique? What are you truly excited about? What are you looking for in a job and a company?
Yeah.
The more clarity you have about who you are and what you want,
Right.
the more authentic you'll come across in the interview.
It's about being comfortable in your own skin,
Yes,
even in a high-pressure situation.
exactly. And don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
Okay.
Be professional, of course.
Right.
But don't be afraid to smile, to inject some humor. Share anecdotes that highlight your unique experiences.
So it's about finding that balance between professionalism and personality.
It is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, the interviewer is a person, too.
Yeah.
They're not expecting perfection.
Right.
They're looking for someone who's competent, capable, and a good fit for the team.
This has been incredibly helpful. I'm feeling so much more confident.
Good, I'm glad.
And prepared for my next interview.
Great.
But before we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to hear your take on a key takeaway from this video.
Okay.
This idea that it's not just about answering questions perfectly.
Right.
It's about the whole package.
Yes.
Your presentation, your enthusiasm, your genuine interest.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Job interviews are about so much more than reciting facts and figures.
Right.
It's about connecting with the interviewer on a human level, showcasing your personality, and demonstrating that you would be a valuable asset to the team. And that requires a holistic approach, paying attention to every aspect of the interaction, from your handshake to your eye contact,
Right.
to the questions that you ask.
It's about being authentic, being prepared,
Yes.
and being present in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you can do that,
Yeah.
you'll not only increase your chances of landing the job, but also ensure that you're setting yourself up for success in your career.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of preparation and like nailing those interview questions and even mastering the art of body language.
Right.
But I think what really ties it all together is this concept of authenticity.
Yeah, it really is the secret ingredient, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can have all the right answers, a perfectly polished presentation, but if it doesn't feel genuine, it's just not going to resonate with the interviewer.
So how do you bring that authenticity to life in an interview setting? It's easy to say just be yourself, but harder to actually do it when you're under pressure.
It is. Well, I think it's about finding their genuine points of connection.
Okay.
Think about what truly excites you about the role or the company.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? What problems are you eager to solve?
Right.
Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Yeah, it's about letting your passion fuel your responses even when you're feeling nervous.
Exactly.
Oh,
And it's not about faking it.
Right.
It's about tapping into that genuine excitement that drew you to this opportunity in the first place.
And that probably helps you connect with the interviewer on a personal level, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interviewers are looking for people that they can envision working alongside,
Right. Not just robots who can recite answers.
Exactly. So let your personality shine through a little.
Okay.
Share anecdotes that highlight your experiences and showcase your own unique perspective.
So it's finding that sweet spot
Yes.
where professionalism meets personality.
Exactly. Be respectful, be articulate, but don't be afraid to let your sense of humor or your unique way of thinking come through.
Yeah, this video we've been discussing focuses on like selling yourself, which can feel kind of daunting,
Yeah.
but I think you've reframed it in a really helpful way.
Good.
It's not about being someone you're not.
Right.
It's about showcasing the best version of yourself.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about presenting yourself in a confident and compelling way while staying true to who you are.
Yeah.
And remember, every interview is a learning experience. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become in showcasing your authentic self.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for approaching job interviews now.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
It's not just about getting the answers right, It's
Right.
about conveying your enthusiasm and your passion
Yes.
and your unique value.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, I'm so glad you found it helpful.
I did.
Remember, you got this.
Okay.
Believe in yourself, prepare thoroughly, and most importantly, be authentically you. The right opportunity will come along. And when it does, you'll be ready to shine.
I love that. And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of job interviews. We hope you found it insightful and empowering. And don't forget to share your own tips and experiences on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep diving deep.